Da-na-na, na-na-na, 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 na-na-na. Battlefield 5 was so fun. I love World War II, World War I. It's my favorite wartime era. As weird as that could sound. This game has really great graphics, great cutscenes.
I was a good soldier. God help me.
It has a lot of good things going for it. All Battlefields are good. I've only played a few of them myself, and I never was always into it either. Like, it's Battlefields in general has been a thing for a long time. Similar to Call of Duty, some of these franchises have been out for a lot longer than it may seem like, because everything that they've been doing is so modern. Past 10-ish years. A lot of the recent ones have come out only so long ago. But these games, they age really well. I'm not sure what they're doing with them, or they're out of the box so polished and so clean, and which is expected because of the production value of the AAA games. But Battlefield 5 in particular really stood out to me because of from just promotional material, the graphics, the cover art, the colors they choose for the cover art. It's so cool and pretty and vibrant, really neat colors. All their games have different game covers to them. It's just so good. I mean, there's not much else to it. And it doesn't even have to be a specific Battlefield, because from my experience, they're all really good. I can't fully remember whether Battlefield 5 was my entry point to the series. I want to say it was, though. It's all been kind of mixed between a few of their titles. But, like, even if this was, as far as I remember, my first Battlefield game, or if this could have been anyone's first Battlefield game, it'd be a good one to start off with. There's probably really only a couple more that I could see being like a first for like a newcomer that didn't really know about it or was curious about it, or so this is definitely somewhere to start. It's definitely a choice or option within a way to get into the series easily. And like, if you like wartime, if you like war stories, you're gonna play this regardless. You're gonna know about it, you're gonna find out. And then you're gonna be like, okay, what do I want to play this game for? Am I a single player kind of person? Or are you ahead of time knowingly going into the multiplayer? Because generally And there's other games that do this similarly as well, like Call of Duty. I mean, Call of Duty is the only other comparable game you can really compare Battlefield to. I would say. It's just fair. But yeah, the beauty of games like this is that you don't have to decide, you don't have to go in and be like, okay, I'm only getting it, purchasing it, whatever it may be, just for the multiplayer or just for the story, the campaign, PvE, PvP, single player, multiplayer, online, offline, however you want to word it. Because the beauty is you could do both. You have that choice. Obviously, no matter what, I mean, it's pretty standard. You're gonna go into the single player, do the campaign, have a great time with it, good introduction to the game, the series, in fact, if anything. And then you're gonna touch the multiplayer, and you could argue that the single player could be good practice for the multiplayer. But really, the single player is much more forgiving. As far as the single player goes, my favorite part in any Battlefield, probably especially this one, because between World War I and World War II, I definitely like World War II better. It's just, you know, it's pretty, I guess that could be pretty normal if you really want to look at it that way. I just think World War I is a little more underrated, but just as cool for sure. But with 2, that's why this game I'm a little bit more biased towards this one versus the others, is that because it's kind of right up my alley. The Germans, the Nazis. But the single player mode, so yeah, my favorite part is the vehicles, tanks, oh yeah, tanks. I'm not really a fighter pilot guy, but planes are fun too. They're somewhat easy to drive in this game too, to pilot. Which you can't say that about most games, but it kind of depends on your opinion about it too. Like, these planes, it just depends on the game. Like, it's not hard to get into a particular game and be like, oh, planes are really easy, or they're just really hard and you're not getting it. Brain's not processing it correctly. But what's cool is that there's small tanks, there's big tanks, there's, you know, there's jeeps, there's... Another fun part is the things you can use as giant weapons, the turrets, the AA guns, this little cannon loader things, whatever those are called. Cannon guns, I don't know. It's always fun finding those too, because it's nice. It's a nice middle ground between infantry and vehicular warfare. So that's my favorite part about it. And that's the beauty of these time period games, is that you can really immerse and put yourself in this time and in these shoes of these characters, if you want to look at it that way. I'd be like, this is what it could have been like for me to really have been here. The experience with a game compared to a war movie, two completely different things. It's just so cool and crazy to see right in front of your face all the different guns that were used back then, what these people were inventing and putting together just for the sole purpose of war and battle, and the engineering behind it all, especially German engineering. It's a time period where you just can't, you always sit there and you try to like imagine what this all really could have been like. And this game, it shows you it combines these worlds of like pretty snow, fire, sounds, bonds between people, and then just the gruesome grittiness of it all, and how brutal it all really is. But it's just so strange. It's such a realization to life that whether it's war or it could be something as dramatic and big and extreme as this example, or it could just be between you and a person. It could be anyone. War never changes, war never stops. There's such a positive message in this game, in the single player mode particularly. Rise above all that. Be better. Be good to those around you. It doesn't have to be wartime to be nice to people. Not saying everyone has to be like friends or anything, right? But I mean, because clearly that's what these games are for. History. It's to let people know that, hey, these things happened back then. They don't have to happen now. Unfortunately, these things did happen for us to be where we are today. And there's a privilege there. That wasn't all for nothing. It's not all just a bunch of bullshit. And I think people can take advantage of that. Because we weren't really there. We don't know what that's like. We haven't experienced what it could be like for people to have no other choice but to come together. But that's what's cool about now, is that you get these insights and these perspectives of how those things were. So just do what you can better today. I'm only explaining all this because that's basically the gist of the story, is that, you know, these good guys, against all odds, go against this giant evil. You get individual people's stories from all the different armies that took place in the war in general, completely, all over the world. Different cultures, different races, different state of minds, ideas. But ultimately, especially as the player, and that's what they were trying to do as well, was, you know, yes, you are you, but you have the choice to be anyone you want to be at all given times. It's a game that really promotes positivity and good vibes. And it's just so gorgeous. If you played this game on the latest next-gen console or, you know, PC, you got a big old TV, you got subwoofers. I don't have a setup like that, but I can imagine it's pretty cool. Just like this huge epic scale of being able to play something. And that's why video games are around, is because you can play them. It doesn't have to be real. The game is so good. You got good music. It's not perfect though. The issues that I have with it personally are like, the enemies are really hard to see. You somewhat have a little bit of a radar, I suppose. But the enemies, and this goes to with PvP as well, easily. In fact, it's almost more relevant there, if anything, but and they're two different modes, obviously, single player, multiplayer, but same problem for me still persists over there as well, is that it's really hard to find people, because character models, which I get as a point, I want to say that's on purpose, but I just don't know. Like, people blend in with the environment so well, and you could argue camouflage, but it's so hard to pick out people, to know where people are, to actually look for them. Like, you have to peel your eyes as much as you possibly can. Obviously, having the best display you can and all these things, that's gonna help, sure. And I want to say there's like accessibility options, if that makes a difference. I've never touched any of that. But it just sucks because, like, I'm shooting someone and I'm getting shot from every direction. There's a guy above me. The AI is very sneaky. And if you compare the AI to PvP players, it's ridiculous. Those guys are really good. They will hide in the most obscure places, sniping you, come up behind you, the sides of you. There's elevation to think of. You have to be so situationally aware of your environment at all given times. I also tried out the easy mode on the single player, and dude, I was still getting whooped. Like, it's an AI that's not forgiving, and it's a war game. Like, it's not the first war game I've played. That's just how these things go. I get it. You know, it's not gonna be all fun and games. It's pure battle. It's not a playground. But it's like in most games, like if there's enemies, I can find them. But in Battlefield games, Battlefront games as well, I have a really tough time, personally. I can't speak for everyone, but that's literally my only negative thing I have about it at all. Other than that, the sequences are good. Like, the campaign is pretty short and sweet, it's pretty standard, right? They're not day or two or whatever, depending on how much time you put into it. But they're always so really well drawn out and really well done. And yeah, because most games are so used to being like one person throughout the whole game, blah blah blah. But here you do get to be multiple people, which can be cool. I like that style. Like, some war movies do that as well. Like, they will not so much focus on one person or one group of people. They'll give you a bird's eye view of like everything that's going on. And that's kind of important to know. That way you can process it all in your own way and try to understand like what the hell's even going on. But yeah, single player mode, it's fun. Play as different people, doing different things in different areas of the world. Everything is... The sound design is awesome. You can't go wrong playing this. You can't. You can pick out your favorite guns. And they do a good mix between infantry and vehicles. It's really memorable. Like, if you're sitting there, whether you're streaming, playing off, you know, just playing in your room, it's so much of an experience. I'll never particularly forget, like, the snow levels at night. Those are, oh, you can't go wrong. Got that moonlight shining, the weather systems, the skyboxes are so cool. Like, it's just such a, like, it's a game you won't forget. Cause it's like watching a movie. The cutscenes are amazing. It's so memorable. You're like, damn, I just had a really good time. What the hell? What just happened? I love Battlefield, and I will continue to love it for as long as possible. It's weird for me because I wasn't always into Battlefield, and then when I started to give it a chance and to know more about it and to see footage and streams and gameplay of it and reviews, maybe even. I was like, what the heck? This is really good. What have I been missing out on all these years? The theme song's a banger. I like how in each game the theme song is actually a little bit different. But as far as the PvP goes, I'm not really a PvP person. I play these games for the campaigns, but PvP is available. It's fun to try out for a day if anything, or if you're really hardcore, play it every day. I don't know. But in PvP, I mean, there's not really much to it. There's classes, there's guns, there's abilities, attachments, grenades, stuff you unlock, customization. Yeah, I mean, you shoot people all day and rank up and yeah, you can definitely tell who are like the new players. They'll have like the most basic stuff on, and there's always these guys that have like all these really cool costumes and showing off, flexing. Look at me, I'm like really high ranked and good, and I play this all the time, and I'm probably better than you, and you know, just, I'm not even gonna get into all that, but yeah, that's the thing, it's there if you want it. There's different modes too. Obviously you can't go wrong with like the large scale battles. More people the better, more realistic, more how it's supposed to be. Yeah, I think a big part of games that have very particular things to offer you, I think a lot of that is I think it's just good to explore those things and to look around in the menus and to get a feel for what they offer, and because there's a lot of it. There's almost too much where you don't really need all of it, I think, but it's good to have an understanding and an idea of what you're getting into. Because luckily with these UIs, these menus that they have and stuff, they're super easy to navigate. Really clean. You know, like, hey, if I want to do this, this is what I'm in for, this particular mode or whatever. But especially server-wise, you're gonna definitely have the best luck in the more popular playlist, which is gonna be large team death battle, capture the flag kind of thing. Because there's like smaller modes as well, but I don't think those are nearly as epic in a grand scale as the game is trying to be. Like, the game is trying to be so big, and you have to kind of let it be that way, or else it's gonna be kind of weird. You know, if you wanted to play something more smaller and tactical, less people, there's plenty of other options out there, but yeah, if you're gonna play Battlefield, do it for real. Make use of the vehicles, have fun. Play around with stuff, use different guns. Use different vehicles, see what one best suits you. Because you have such a wide variety and range of things at your disposal. And it's definitely not a bad thing. It's not easy to do, but I think it's so much fun when you can find a tank and just go to town. Because at least you're somewhat protected, right? Like, obviously you're a giant target, but when you're in infantry, this is just me. You are so vulnerable, and like, you're gonna get shot, you're gonna die a lot. But at least in a tank, you could, especially if you can use one really well. Which is so cool finding there's some really experienced players out there that will probably never die the entire match. They're in a plane, they're just bombing and shooting everyone. It's ridiculous. Or like a tank who's just taking over the map, dude, ruling the ground space. Like, it's really cool, especially, I mean, yeah, you could play with people, right? But you can also, I think it's just fun playing with random people. You never know who you could actually be part of a good team with. You're supposed to have each other's backs, and when you put yourself in that state of mind where like, hey, our lives are on the line, like, these people are my teammates, even the randos that you find out there, we're still part of some sort of collective team, right? It's so much of a fun time when you can get into a tank. Maybe they're piloting it, maybe you are, whatever it may be, but you guys are working in such sync together, like just cruising along, just cutting everyone down, everything. It's pretty cool. Just knowing that, like, even if we're not on comms, there's still like some sort of energy there that we're sharing together and kind of on the same wavelength. It's pretty special. Like, hey, you're playing the same game I am. We have something in common already as it is. Who knows what else I don't know. Because I think a big reason why people play these games is not so much that they like war, but they don't like it so much to a point where this is kind of a good outlet for that, is to kind of embrace the fact that it's a thing and it exists, but like, you know, it's one thing to participate in it virtually, it's another thing when it's a real thing. I realize it's a day and age where, like, I wouldn't say things like this are really relevant at all, but I wouldn't say a lot of it has completely disappeared either, but that's that's stuff that's way beyond me. But yeah, Battlefield 5 is good. I've actually played the multiplayer or the single player twice now. And I had a great time each time. It could be frustrating, like I said, when you don't know where any guys are and everything kind of blends together. But another thing I didn't point out earlier too was that in games like this, it's really easy to just die and die and die. Grenades are getting thrown at you. Like, it could be easy for things to just kind of not line up, and it could be frustrating. Or they'll expect you to do something, or after a cutscene maybe, like, you're thrown right into some sort of gunfight and you don't really have that time to think or to process what's happening. So, like I was saying earlier, you gotta be on your toes, this isn't exactly a chill, laid-back game. You really gotta kind of be aware of what's going on. Which is fair. I realize it's a simulation, they're trying to fill in all the gaps, fine. Yeah, long term, the PvP, the multiplayer, is probably what's gonna have the most replayability. I mean, there's like collectibles you can go do in the single player mode, but I've never been a collectible guy myself, so I just play it for fun and go through it, have a good time, and, you know, move on. But yeah, PvP is definitely fun for a couple days worth, if anything. Get a feel for it, experience it, say that you did it, and then kind of, you want to stick with it, great. If not, no big deal. But yeah, that's my Battlefield 5 review. Good. I made my 90% it's pretty damn good. It's definitely that 10% that it's not a perfect game. It looks and feels, it gives off the fact that it is trying to be a perfect game, but it's not. There's no such thing. But yeah. It's a